Hello there, and welcome to the Fadeaway. This is our first episode that we're going to be doing. We're going to be a NBA podcast. We're going to be talking about NBA topics, debating, ranking lists, stuff like that. And today we're going to be going over season awards. So we're going to be talking about MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and Coach of the Year. All right. So my name is Evan.
I'm Tate. What's up, y'all?
All right. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing end of seasons awards. And we'll on this podcast we'll be doing many different things. So yeah, let's go ahead and get it started. So let's get it started with MVP. So my pick for MVP is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, Milwaukee Buck. I think he's going to win it. I think he should win it back to back. And the reasoning for that is because he kind of led the Bucks for the second straight year, not only the best record in the East, but the best record in the NBA. And the reason I don't give it to someone like James Harden, LeBron James, is, in my opinion, most valuable player is if you take that player away from their team, who's going to hurt the most. So if you take James Harden or LeBron James away from their teams, they still have a secondary superstar, all right? So LeBron James has Anthony Davis. James Harden has Russell Westbrook. I still think those teams are playoff teams, in my opinion. But if you take Giannis off of the Bucks, I mean, their best player is Chris Middleton, and behind that, most likely Eric Bledsoe, Brook Lopez. So if you take him off, I don't even think they're making the playoffs.
I don't even think they're
that's
making
why
the
I have
playoffs as you take him off.
Oh no, I don't think Chris Middleton could carry the Bucks to the playoffs by himself.
All right, fair enough.
He's an all-star. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely, I would say, a top 10 small forward in the league, but he's not on the same level as Anthony Davis or Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, who's your pick, Tate?
So my pick is also Giannis. A lot for the same reasons, because I like that it's not. I feel like there should be some logistical way to like measure if you took that player off. And I do feel like Giannis definitely carries his team the most, so he should definitely win it. I don't know if I totally agree with you that they wouldn't make the playoffs without him. I think they'd be down there towards the 8 or 7, but I do, yeah, they don't really have a secondary superstar like the Rockets or Lakers. Anthony Davis is obviously probably the best power forward in the league right now, so he'd be able to do something.
I mean, Giannis.
Well,
I think I would say Anthony Davis is definitely the best big man in the league. I don't consider Giannis a big man.
Okay. Yeah. 80's best big man. Giannis, yeah. Yes, that's what we like to see.
All right, hold on. Before you continue, let me ask you something. All right.
Okay.
So right now, the 7th and the 8th seed in the East are the Nets and the Magic. Nets being the 7, Magic being 8th. Do you think Chris Middleton, with the team they have now, you take Giannis off, Chris Middleton could take the Bucks past the Magic? Like, let's say in a 7-game series.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
can respect that.
if the Bucks are in the East, so that's why I think they could do it. If they were in the West, there's no way. But the East is so much weaker, in my opinion, just because last year there were teams with like 30, lower than 40 to 35 wins that made the playoffs in the East.
Yeah, below 500.
And then in the West, I'm pretty sure the 8 seed had at least 40 wins. That may be wrong, but that's just what it feels like.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are in agreement that it is Giannis.
Yes, Giannis, definitely.
Okay. Well, then I say we move on then. So since we don't really have anything to, debate or anything like that. So let's move on to Rookie of the Year. Now, I thought this was pretty easy for me. I actually got to see this guy in person. My pick is Ja Morant. I think he is one of the most overall rounded talents I've seen. He's not a great shooter, but he can shoot. All right. An amazing passer, absolutely amazing ball handler. I really think he has the potential to one day be the best point guard in the league. He's brought an energy to the Grizzlies that they haven't really had in a long time. They were kind of stagnant, being like the 7th, 8th seed for a while. Which I mean, they'd still probably make that 7th, 8th seed, but going into the future with. Go ahead. They're what?
I think they're at that right now, or they were. Whatever when the season was going on, they're at 8, and the Pelicans are like a game or two behind them.
Okay, so yeah, I just my main thing is like he's bringing that energy to them that I don't think they've really had for a long time. And plus with him, Brandon Clark was an awesome rookie. The Jaren Jackson. So they really have those key pieces that they need right now. And I think through time that they're going to be like that Golden State Warrior team who goes multiple years to the finals. Because I don't think there's any other young team that's in the league right now that can compare to them, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it.
So who's your pick?
My pick is also Ja.
Okay.
Ja, definitely what you said. I never really thought about the energy thing, but it does seem like, I mean, it's his rookie year, and you go look up just Ja Morant pictures. He's got 5 or 6 pictures of him trying to jump over people. So it's kind of like
definitely
putting the Grizzlies back on the map a little bit. Because like what you said, when they had Conley and Gasol, they were good, but they were never like they
weren't a highlight team.
Yeah. You never thought like, oh, this team is gonna compete and maybe contend for a championship or something. It was just like they might go to the first round, maybe second, but then it's done after that. So
yeah.
But I do like them as one of the better younger teams in the league. I think Ja Morant, like you said, is definitely going to become one of the best point guards in the league. Maybe even next year. Maybe.
How long?
Next year. I think he needs to.
Yeah.
Maybe. I said maybe.
What you're saying? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
He definitely needs to become a little bit better shooter, but I think he's got a very good passing mentality, and he knows how to score around the rim very well.
Yeah.
And I can I could see an argument for Zion, I guess, but he's only played like 10 games or something. Games.
Yeah.
So that voids it out a little bit for me.
Yeah, and my backup, so my number 2 was RJ Barrett. I think he was kind of underlooked just because he was on the Knicks.
Yeah.
But a great scorer, amazing shooter, mid-range shooter. He can finish around the rim. And then behind him, I had Tyler Hero, who I thought was hands down the best shooting rookie that we saw this year. For him to go on a team like the Heat that already had set players, Derrick Jones Jr., Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, all of them, and to make an impact like he did, and like I just think that deserves a mention. So
yeah.
Moving on, 6th man of the year. Who's your 6th man of the year? I know this one's a little bit tougher, but I mean, do you have a pick for 6th man of the year?
I don't. I didn't write it down.
No, it's fun. So my pick for 6th man of the year is Derrick Rose. I think it's really amazing to watch. He is. So I think it's really amazing to watch Derrick Rose and see how he's kind of revitalized his career and really found what his role is now in the NBA. He knows he's not going to be a breakout scorer every night. He knows he needs to go on the court, bring that energy, pass the ball to open men, stuff like that. I think he is now playing the best ball he's played, probably I would say since
his injury.
Probably around that time, probably since like 2012, 2013. He was pretty good in 2014, I will say, but yeah, I just really feel like he's probably one of, if not their best scorer. So yeah, he just really comes off the bench and really pushes that second unit.
Yeah, I can see that. I like it.
Okay. Well, since you don't have a pick for that, we'll move on. Defensive Player of the Year.
I have a cop-out answer. Lou Will, because it's Lou Will.
Lou Will. Okay, yeah. I mean, he's always in contention for it.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to Defensive Player of the Year. My pick is Anthony Davis. All right. I think Anthony Davis has, to some extent, been snubbed the past couple of years for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, don't get me wrong, Rudy Gobert has definitely deserved it. But I definitely think that Anthony Davis always deserves a mention, just because I think Anthony Davis he's not at the level of rim protecting that Rudy Gobert is, but he's a much better on-ball defender.
Yeah, he can move around the perimeter a lot better than Rudy Gobert can.
Yeah. Yeah, he gets I think he gets way more steals than Rudy Gobert does, and I don't think he's that much less of a rim protector than Rudy Gobert is. Like, I think people act like Rudy Gobert is like the best shot blocker ever. Like, that's what they act like, but I really think Anthony Davis is like top 3 shot blocker in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking right here, so this season he averaged 1.5 steals and 2.4 blocks. So I mean, yeah, he's averaging tied with his highest in steals and just under his blocks. So I just think he's a premier defender in the league, let alone that, but also offensive. So who do you have as your pick?
So my Decoy pick is going to be the same as my MVP pick. I'm going to have to go with my boy Giannis. Because you got it?
He's the same kind of thing as Anthony Davis. So
yeah.
He's the kind of guy that's going to give you blocks, but he's also going to give you those steals numbers in the 1 to 2s. So I definitely can see that.
I think Giannis is definitely one of the great, he's probably one of the best defenders that can guard all 5 positions, in my opinion.
Okay. I can definitely see 3 through 5. I don't know how well he is at the 1 to 2, but
he only averages a steal and a block a game, but I think that's really impressive. Being
how much he's having to produce on the offensive end. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
someone like Rudy Gobert isn't expected to put out the effort.
Yeah, Gobert's
on offense as people like Anthony Davis and
Gobert is definitely
Giannis,
one of the best rim protectors in the league, but that's his role. It's not like Rudy Gobert is looking to like back people down in the post and put up 25 points a game or anything like that. It's like, Rudy, we need you to block and get rebounds.
Yeah. And catch a lob from time to time.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. And Giannis, he moves around. It's just one of the most athletic like guys that are almost 7 foot of all time, I feel like.
Oh yeah, 100%. I definitely see where you're going. All right. All right, cool. So, what do we have left? So we have most improved.
Yeah, most improved.
And then we have coach of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. So my most improved player, and I'm a little bit biased because he's a Kansas alum, but my most improved is Devontae Graham of the Charlotte Hornets.
All right.
Dude has been balling out. In my opinion, he's been hands down the best player on that team. All right. He has been a little bit shoddy with consistency shooting, but I think he is better than Terry Rozier. Terry Rozier is putting up great numbers, and it's nothing against him. He's an amazing player, and he's really coming up into his role as a point guard. But Devontae Graham has been shooting better, the best he has, scoring more, dishing out more assists. Like, I can definitely see Devontae Graham. If Terry Rozier wasn't signed to that team, Devontae Graham would be their starting point guard because he has that ability to dish the ball out and everything like that. And on a very, very subpar Hornets team, he's the kind of player that can stick with them. And once they add assets, everything like that, he's really the kind of leader they can have to push that team into the playoffs, into the finals, a lot further into the future, obviously. But he's really the guy they need right now. Not next year, no. All right, your pick for most improved?
I was going to ask you, though, do you think with Devontae Graham that maybe the same thing will happen with him? What happened with Kemba? How he's kind of just there, and they never really were able to build around him?
Oh, definitely. But I think that can happen with any up-and-coming player.
All right.
You know what I mean? There's definitely been players in the past who have won most improved. Like Paul George won most improved player one year. I mean, but look where he is now. He's on a title contending team. Like, I'm not saying he has to stay on that team for him to be good. It's just that if they make the right moves, he definitely can be their number one option through it all.
Yeah, I like it. If he sticks with them, I could see it. He's definitely shown that he's got great potential. But yeah, I like him for most improved.
Okay. Do you want to throw in any other names, or is that your pick?
My pick is actually Bam Adebayo.
Very good pick.
I just, last year, you don't feel like I heard anything about Bam really any, but this year he's went up, I think he went from like 8 points a game last year to like 18 or 19 this year. Maybe not that high, but he went up like 8 or 9 points a game, and his rebounds are up. So he's filling his role a little bit better. Maybe not his role, but he's playing better. And
first time All-Star too.
First time All-Star. I think he's definitely got a better team around him than Devontae Graham or Terry Rozier. But so that I think that helps a little bit. But I think that's kind of the same thing with Siakam last year. I mean, Kawhi Leonard came in and Siakam gets really good. Jimmy Butler comes in, Bam gets really good. So, yeah.
Yeah, and like you were actually pretty accurate. So he had, looking at his stats last year, at 8.9. He was averaging just under a block per game, 2.2 assists, and 7.3 rebounds. Now he's at 16.2 points, over a block a game at 1.3, and he's averaging double-digit rebounds at almost 11. So he's really, it's not like a huge jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Devontae Graham had a huge jump.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just most improved player isn't just improving your stats, it's improving who you are as a player overall. So he's really fit into that role. Just like Siakam, that's the main reason he won most improved players, because he really fit into that role that Toronto needed. Sorry. So yeah, I definitely agree that he deserves a mention. All right, so moving on to the final thing we're going to talk about, and that's Coach of the Year. So, there's a lot of coaches' names that can be mentioned, Frank Vogel, names like that. But I think my pick is going to be Miami Heat's coach,
Eric Spoelstra.
Eric Spoelstra. Why did I say Frank? Eric Spoelstra.
Frank?
So
Eric Vogel.
Eric Vogel. I think at the start of the year, especially with the news of the Jimmy Butler trade, the Heat, although they definitely seemed like the Heat for a very long time now have been a mid-tier team especially since LeBron left. But I really don't think Eric gets the credit he deserves. Back when he was coaching LeBron, it was like everyone would always say, "Oh, he just has good players," but
that's kind of the same thing players with any team that gets. It's kind of like the top of the mountain effect. It's like this team gets good, and they're the coaches, or people say the coach is like, "Well, he's just got good players."
Yeah, I definitely think after LeBron left and Chris Bosh, got his injuries and everything like that, that the Heat should never have been as good as they were. And still making the playoffs, everything like that. When you really lose a superstar and you don't have that real X factor on your team anymore, a lot of the times teams just go into tank mode and really just go to the bottom of the bracket, everything like that. And I just feel like the Heat never really had to do that. They always stayed consistent. And now look at them. There was one point where they were fighting for the number one spot in the East. I mean,
I think they're 4 in the East right now.
Okay, but. They were my sleeper team this year. They were the team I thought honestly could have made the finals. Both them and then I thought the Utah Jazz were the sleeper team in the West. But the thing that just amazes me about the Heat is how Eric can really get each one of his players to fill the role they have to fill. Goran Dragic is getting up there in age, but he still plays amazing basketball. And I mean, it's not. I think we all know it's not easy to coach Jimmy Butler. That's not an easy task.
I think he's probably one of the hardest players to coach in the league.
Him and Kyrie Irving, I would say.
I feel like Jimmy just has kind of like a Kobe mentality of I'm in charge, I'm here, and I'm in Kobe.
Yeah.
Kyrie is at least from what I've heard. I'm not in the locker room with Kyrie, so. Kyrie, it just seems like he just whines about some stuff and just didn't get his way, or I don't know. That's just what it seems like. I don't know the full truth on that.
Okay. I definitely see where you're coming from. So, so Eric is my pick. Who do you have as yours?
I think Eric Spoelstra would be my number 2. But I'm gonna go with the man Nick Nurse with the Raptors because
that's who a lot of people had winning Coach of the Year.
Mainly kind of for the same reasons that Eric Spoelstra is in the conversation. Nick Nurse, he lost DeRozan 2 years ago, and then lost Kyrie. Not Kyrie.
Well, he wasn't the coach when DeMar was.
Oh well, okay.
Like,
well, the Raptors still
that's
lost
back
DeMar.
when it was Dwayne Casey. Okay.
And then
you're saying he took a team that had just lost DeMar. I get what you're saying.
They lost DeMar, and then you have Kawhi Leonard, who is arguably the best small forward in the league, or best player, however you feel, arguably. And you lose him, and you're able to still be in the number 2 seed in the East without your biggest star. And all your players they're playing their role. Kyle Lowry is pretty solid all-star this year, even though I don't think he should have got it. And Siakam, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, Siakam really kind of stepped up. Like when Kawhi's not there, like last year, it was Siakam that was getting all the buckets and carrying the load.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
And it's kind of the same thing with the Heat.
And now,
the same thing with the Heat. It's kind of like you didn't really expect them to do anything, and then their Raptors are second, and the Heat are fourth, and you're kind of looking at the East, and you're like, what's happening here?
Yeah, no, and I think a big mention is how Nick Nurse is able to get the most potential out of players. Like OG Anunoby right now is playing the best he's played his entire career. Norman Powell is still an amazing player off the bench. Serge Ibaka is still blocking shots, scoring in the post, everything like that. I mean, and Marc Gasol I know Marc Gasol is on like the tail end of his career, but he can still produce. So,
yeah.
All right. Last thing, actually, I know I said that was the last thing we were going to talk about. Last thing I want to talk about is our finals matchup and who we had winning the championship.
Okay.
So I'll go first. From the West, I have the Lakers because I don't think there's any team in the league right now in the West that could beat them in a 7-game series. I just don't see the Clippers. I know the Clippers beat them in more games this season, but through a entire week of just 7 games, I don't think they could do it. And then coming out of the East, I have the Bucks. I think that the Bucks have really learned how to use Giannis in other than just one way. So you really saw in the Eastern Conference Finals last year how the Raptors really figured out how to stop him, how to make him, a cold player, and that's really how they won that series. But I think the Bucks have really evolved. They brought back Brook Lopez and also brought in Robin. And they have Chris Middleton's playing great. Eric Bledsoe's playing great. DiVincenzo has really had a bigger role in the team. So I really think they've become the premier team, not just in the East, but in the entire league. So I have them going against each other in the finals. And then and even though the Bucks do have that number 1 record, I just think LeBron would be way too hungry to get his championship. And I think he's really just going to go all out. And with Anthony Davis being a first time in the finals, I really think he's going to surprise people with how composed and well played he is, because I think Anthony Davis is a winner. So he won a NCAA championship his first year. Sadly, it was against Kansas, but
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. But I really think he has that mentality of a killer, and you have those good bench players. Avery Bradley, Jared Dudley can hit a couple shots. You really have those. Kyle Kuzma can honestly give you 20 points. So I really think they have those pieces that the Bucks just lack to win in the final. So.
I know it kind of feels like
Your
Kuzma
picks?
fell off, but I feel like it's just because Anthony Davis kind of came in, and then
Yeah.
they kind of his role just shrank a little bit, so he's not getting as much attention as he did last year.
Yeah, 100%.
So
who do you have going to the finals, and who's your winner?
So my finals is gonna be almost the same as yours, except mine's gonna be the Clippers, because I think they could beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. I think it would go to 7.
Okay.
I think all games would be within 10 points. That would be my Western Conference pick, and then definitely.
So go into that Western Conference a little bit more. So why do you think the Clippers can beat the Lakers?
Okay, so we got Kawhi Leonard. So Kawhi on LeBron. That's going to be one of the greatest matchups of all time. I think, God, that's so hard. I just think Kawhi is a craftier scorer and would be able to help his team more and shut LeBron down when needed.
Okay. I can definitely see that.
And I think
All right, who do you have as your?
The Clippers
Go
have
ahead,
the
sorry.
most depth in the entire league.
I definitely agree with that.
With Patrick Beverley and Shamet and Lou Will, Montrezl Harrell, they got people for.
It's scary.
Yeah, they got somebody to guard everybody. The only thing that would worry me is if Montrezl Harrell's only 6'8", so I think he would have difficulty guarding like JaVale and AD down low a little bit.
Okay.
He's
only 6'8", but he makes up for it.
Yeah,
he's a big dude.
He's a great center. He's just undersized.
Yeah.
All
right, so who do you have as your Eastern Conference?
Definitely the Bucks. I think it would be.
Okay.
I think it'll be a good Eastern. It would be a good Eastern side of the bracket, but I think nobody's stopping Giannis because Kawhi left, LeBron's gone. Dude, Siakam's not gonna guard him. If the Celtics played the Bucks, who's gonna guard him? He almost did it last year, but he met Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard's in the West. So
yeah, no, I think the only person who could really match up with him, I think the only team that could really give them problems would probably be the 76ers or the Raptors.
yeah,
But I mean, knowing the 76ers,
76ers
they just can't. They just can't make a run, man. They always have struggles in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have for the past couple of years. So I just don't. I want them because they are my favorite team. So I want them to make it to the finals, but I just can't see it happening.
And then sadly, my
All
Pacer boys, I don't think they're beating the Bucks.
They're just not at 100%.
Yeah. It's like
Victor Oladipo still isn't back to where he was.
Yeah. And we always struggled against well, maybe not struggled, but we're kind of like the Raptors too. We could just never get past LeBron. And that's kind of where
I mean, a couple years ago, his last year in Cleveland, y'all took it to 7 in the first round.
We took it to 7. And then Miles Turner fouled out with like 2 minutes left, and I was big mad.
All right, so who do you have winning that matchup with both of them?
Probably, honestly, the Clippers, because I feel like Kawhi could do the same stuff, and he'd be able to help the Clippers out a little bit and kind of maybe show them what he did to stop him last year and win in 6. And they'd be able to, because I feel like if you're playing the Bucks and you're able to, like you said, make Giannis cold and not confident in his shots and stuff, then you've got that game won. Because
Yeah.
They have good role players and a couple all-stars, but they don't have anybody that's like a superstar that could carry the load or like open up the offense if Giannis gets shut down.
Here's the biggest thing I see with Giannis, and it's like I just don't think he has that closeout mentality yet.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is like I just don't see him having like we've seen late game LeBron.
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? We've seen late game Kawhi. We know what these players do in late game. Giannis, I don't think, has shown what he can do quite yet in a late close game scenario. Like I feel like Giannis almost has like when he sees the game getting away from his team, it's not like he just gives up, but he just slows down. You can see him slowing down. So I either way, I don't see if it's the Clippers or the Lakers. I don't see either of them losing to the Bucks.
Yeah.
In a 7-game series. So I definitely I think that would very much be a show at the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. So I think we would definitely see the Lakers and the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, and I think we would probably see the Raptors and the Bucks again in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think those would definitely be a show. I think those would definitely be more exciting than the finals. So
yeah.
So yeah. Anything else to add onto it?
I don't think so. I think that was good. I think it was pretty good, man.
Okay. Well, anyone who listened, we really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about a lot more. We plan on doing kind of shorter ones like this, and then we'll move on to like hour and a half, maybe more if we really get the listeners. So yeah, we really appreciate you listening. Any last thoughts, Tate?
No. I think you covered it.
All right. Awesome.
Alrighty.
I think we can end it there.
Yep.
Cool.
Good talk.